Welcome to the Backyard Blitz. It is Wednesday, August 24th. Boys, football's in the air. I can feel it. I know you guys have been out there. Drew, I know that you had an event last week that you're doing security at for your old football team. And then Slick, you guys had your week 0. How's it going, man? Football's great. It's back. How's it going?
Yes, sir.
What up, guys? It's good to be back. Ricky, why don't you go? You know, you had your first game, man. You can go into that, and then I'll come on.
Yeah, we had our first game Friday, exhibition game, kickoff classic. Unfortunately, we lost 42-14 to Tampa Catholic, which is also a ranked Florida team. I believe they may be ranked in the nation as well. Ooh. I could be wrong, but I know for a fact they are ranked in Florida. Solid team. Halftime, we were going into halftime. We were 7-7. We gave up a touchdown. I think it was like 45 seconds left in the quarter going into half. And then when we came back from halftime, things kind of went left. But, we've seen a lot of positive. I really feel like we can bounce back, take the positive, work on the negative. And I feel like we'll have a pretty solid team. I mean, we ran the ball well, did some good things in the air. Defense did do some good things, but we still got a lot of work to do. But overall, I mean, it is what it is. Like, we'll
it's good
barometer for next week, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's week 0, so it really doesn't, affect your standings or anything like that. But good to kind of play against a really good opponent, because then next week they might not be as good. So then you can, and get all the errors out too, by the way.
Exactly.
How about you, Drew?
Yeah, man. So, I did a little security. The team had their first scrimmage. I got another one coming up tomorrow. They got a game scrimmage. So I'm curious to see, those boys in action. Obviously, I'm not coaching anymore, but I was with them for the last 4 years. Those are my guys. The head coach who took over for me, man, he started his coaching career with me. So he's my guy too. So I'm supporting them in any way I can. I'm excited, man. Got, new little business venture coming up, that I'm excited about. I don't know if you've seen on Facebook, but I'm like, got a lot going on. And I don't know though, man, like all that stuff that's going on, it's a little weird feeling tonight. Like that video that came out.
Yeah,
I don't know. It kind of gave me the chills a little bit, So there's a little something in the air.
There's a little something in the air. That's absolutely right.
What about you, though, man? What do you got going on?
Well, the kiddos started kindergarten on Tuesday, so that I was a mess. I was straight up cried, man. Absolutely. I'm not even gonna front. Like, I absolutely cried. I got home. But it's awesome. Like, she is so excited to be there, and gonna be coaching soccer with her again. She's gonna be really busy with soccer coming up, so it's fun. It's so like crazy when you have a kid that like you kind of start to relive certain things. But it was cool seeing her go to school and all that stuff.
Oh, I was gonna say, man, you're probably loving the sidelines. Like, let's go.
Oh. Your mini me. Your mini me.
My mini me.
Yeah, you're the dad that I'm going to be thrown out of the games when the season rolls around here.
So I'm coaching, so I kind of go. I'm good about it. You guys know how I am with the kids, but I will tell you that my kiddo started talking some trash this last season. This really good girl.
Yeah, you were telling us.
Oh man, she looked at her, started laughing, goes, "I'm going to score again." And I was just like, I know where she gets that from. I know where she gets that from. I'm excited about it. But the NFL is in full force again this weekend. Preseason week 2. Now, it's not 4 games now, so there's one more week of preseason coming up, and then it's going to be regular season. It's right around the corner. There was a lot of stuff that happened. Some teams played their starters. Some teams didn't, just because they have a short week. But what really stood out to you guys in week 2 of the preseason? We'll go with Drew. You go first. What stood out to you, man?
So the one thing that stood out to me was not necessarily, plays that were made on the field, but some things that happened on the sideline. All right, I'm talking about the Cardinals game, and I'm a big Cliff Kingsbury fan. Like, I love the guy, dude. I love him back from Texas Tech. Like, big fan. All right, but they've been struggling offensively, and he's the offensive coordinator, and they have been struggling to move the ball, and it's a bad look when the head coach and offensive coordinator can't drum up a touchdown drive, but your starting quarterback gets on the headsets, calls 2 series of the plays, and scores twice. Now,
the same quarterback that has this study clause, right? That's in there. He's
exactly the guy who we talked about at length, who didn't or had a contract or a clause in his contract that he needs to prepare more. Now he scored twice, 2 touchdowns on 2 drives that he's calling plays. Meanwhile, the head coach is sitting there throwing up a goose egg. So it's just not a good look. I don't know why the Cardinals are putting themselves in these positions to make headlines like this, like the stupid clause in the contract. Now you're going to let Kyler call plays for 2 series and then promote it. Okay, he did a great job, but now they're losing faith in the head coach and the offense coordinator, saying that maybe he should give it up. I'm like, you guys are like, what are you doing? So that was my biggest takeaway from preseason, man.
And not only that, anyway. they had a lot of contract stuff with him too. So it was the contract, it was the clause that was in there, and all that stuff. It's been a rocky offseason for the Cardinals, absolutely.
Yeah.
What stood out to you, Slick?
We were talking about a little earlier, Turbin, the returner / receiver, the rookie from with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
He was a USFL MVP. I didn't know he returned too. I caught the kickoff return live, but the punt return I didn't see because I was busy flicking back and forth from different games. But just to see a guy like that got another opportunity to get in the NFL, and he made the most of it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And
he's an undersized guy.
He is. I love that USFL because there really needs to be a development league. But hey, bring that back up, Drew, because Jeff brings up a good point. We got our Hard Knocks people. By the way, every time Hard Knocks comes on, you think that team is going to go and just have this unbelievable run where they're doing the Lions this year, right? But they won their first preseason game in like 8 years, which is great. Dan Campbell's got him going on. He's up to his tricks. Definitely go check out Hard Knocks.
I like Dan.
I do too.
I have to catch up on Hard Knocks. I still haven't glanced at it yet.
I don't know, bro, I haven't even watched Hard Knocks. I just know that I've seen a couple of Campbell interviews, man, and he's a straight shooter and guy that you build day by day. They say brick by brick, and he's definitely a bricklayer, man.
Yeah, no.
What about you, BP? What stood out to you this week?
A couple different things. Number one, the Ravens are on a 24 game winning streak in the preseason. They haven't lost a preseason game in 24 games. They kept that up against the Cardinals, which that's a kind of a weird, stat, to kind of throw out there. But I thought that was pretty crazy. But the other thing that stood out to me was the Buffalo Bills. They were like on point. They played their starters for, I believe it was a quarter and a half. Russell Wilson was out there for the Broncos for a short period of time. And they were hitting on all cylinders. It was, Josh Allen to Gabriel Davis, I think was the first touchdown. And that's the last memory Bills fans have of that Kansas City Chiefs game. The last one that they really want to remember, at least, of him hitting Gabe Davis with 13 seconds or something to go. So they looked really good. But there's a lot of players out there that are on the bubble. There's some surprise cuts. There's one that I'm going to talk about a little bit later in our 2-minute segment, but it's starting to kind of creep up where cuts are already starting to happen. There's players that are being sent home, and there's one more game. Matter of fact, tomorrow night starts week 3. I know the 49ers, of course, my Niners, but they're playing against the Texans, but they're playing their starters for a full half. And then that's it until September 8th.
Can we talk about that a little bit? Like this, I guess since they went to 18 weeks now, you're seeing more and more of starters not playing at all during the preseason.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that that's good or bad? Like, I get you don't want to get anybody hurt, but like, dude, you don't want the first action to be the first game of the season, in my opinion. I mean, do you guys got an opinion on that or what?
Yeah, go ahead, Slick.
Go ahead. No, you got it, BP. Go ahead.
I mean, I think it's a team preference. I see both sides of it, because the last thing that you want to have is think about Zach Wilson and what happened with the Jets. Sure. I know we joke about it, but when your starting quarterback goes down in the preseason, it's a big deal. It doesn't turn into Kurt Warner all of a sudden arriving on the scenes and having an MVP type season. Usually it means your season's going down the toilet in a meaningless game. But football is one where you don't even get real live reps practicing, even when you're trying to scrimmage, because you're trying to not bring to the ground, you're going to thud or whatever it is. So these preseason games, I do like, because you kind of get to build up that callus a little bit of, taking the hits and taking care of yourself and how you need to go about it. But then, football is one of those games where you can't just go play pickup basketball, right? Like, you can't go out there and just play pickup basketball and you're going to be good and ready to go. Like, there's that injury factor of you're having full-on collisions with each other. So I see it both ways. I like that it's reduced down to 3 games. I think 4 was really pointless. But what you see a lot of teams doing now, instead of really taking a lot of value in the preseason games for their starters, they're having joint practices. So there's a lot of teams that are doing that. And I know a couple coaches out there, even Dan Campbell brought it up in Hard Knocks, where he says those are big weeks when they were going against the Colts this last week. 2 days of joint practices where you're seeing somebody else, and they're trying not to fight and things like that, but they're going live. Like, it's going. And he took more value in that, I think, than he took to the game. The game is more, let's see how we handle adversity and the ups and downs of a game flow. How do you handle competition? I think that's how they value those joint practices. But what do you think on that, Slick? Like, what are your thoughts?
Like you said, I see both sides. For me, I feel like it kind of more depends on the experience of the guy and the position. Because like you said, quarterback, you got a Zach Wilson. He's young, but he's your franchise guy. He's the face of your organization. So, but if you have like a receiver that's been in the game for like 8 to 10 years, or maybe even 5 to 8, it's like he understands the speed of the game. He understands what comes with it. So it's like, if he doesn't want to participate, I'm not really mad at it.
Yeah. Does that excuse a MVP winning quarterback for missing a couple weeks at camp?
You're already trying to get in there, aren't you?
I figure it'd be a good segue.
It's a great one. I do want to talk about an injury that kind of happened, but like you said, I think it depends on what the battles are going on in your camp. Like, what do you want to see out of your guys? If you got a guy that is 30, like Aaron Rodgers, does he really need to be out there? But then you can have the conversation. Well, he missed OTAs because of his contract dispute, and then all of a sudden he's cussing out his receivers for not being on the same page as him. It's like, okay, well, hard to be on the same page as you when you miss OTAs, and then you're pointing the finger at us who's trying to gain some chemistry with you, and now you don't have Devontae Adams, but you're Aaron Rodgers, so I guess it's cool. I don't know. That one always rubs me the wrong way with Aaron Rodgers. But one thing I wanted to bring up, this was kind of a takeaway that kind of gained some momentum over the weekend, is this play here. Yeah, the co-practices. Yeah, I like those. I like those practices for sure. So Kayvon Thibodeau, if you guys don't know, he was injured on, I believe it was Saturday, and it was on a cut block. We're going to show it here in a second. I want you to pay attention to the bottom part of the screen when he's coming off the edge and watch it. Now, there's going to be a replay that shows it happen in slow motion, and we're going to talk about it. But then I'm going to kind of bring up a couple different points of view. Really what this is meant to do is kind of educate on a couple things. But there was some big-time tweets from Rich Eisen, from Micah Parsons had some stuff out there, Manuel Ocho on these, basically talking head shows. Some of former players saying it was a completely dirty play. Let's take a look at it and let's decide for yourself.
Now and again, gives to Evans, dancing in the middle. He is caught from behind.
So Thibodeau goes down right here. He's holding his leg. We're going to show it in slow-mo here in just a second.
He is laying and he is holding his right. He's holding his right knee. Kayvon Thibodeau got up and walked to the sideline by himself. They had sent the card out. They sent it away. He didn't get on it. And he is under the blue.
So looks super scary, right? Like when you see that, when you see it happening from the edge. So when you guys see that clip, and we'll start with Slick here, what were your initial thoughts? Did you think that was a dirty play? What were your thoughts on that?
Me personally, I don't think it was. It didn't look like a dirty play. It looked like it was just one of those your typical football plays. I mean, it's a cut block. Like, it happens. On top of the fact that a lot of surfaces now are made of turf, so it looked like he came off the edge and his foot was basically planted and stuck into the turf, and the guy made a cut block. I mean, I won't say I agree with it, but I won't say I disagree with it, just because I understand on that level, cut blocks are very important. Yes, it's 50-50.
So would it matter if it was, so this happened in a preseason game. Would it matter if it happened in a regular season game? Would you look at it differently than in a game that might not matter?
For me, I probably would look at it the same, just because those guys that are playing at that level, like, it's a job now. It's livelihood. So those guys got to produce for their family. You know what I'm saying? So it's the fact of whatever year he's in, that may have an effect on his contract or his amount of years that he plays, or whatever the case may be. So the health part of it is, that's the negative, but at the same time, I do understand that it's football. So, I mean, I feel like the people that have had negative things to say about it are people that are more into this era of football, because they've changed all the rules and everything else that they've changed to keep people more healthier. But the people that kind of played in our era or older, they look at it as a regular football.
You trying to call us old, Slick? Is that? I mean, that's what you're.
No, we're not old. We're seasoned.
We're seasoned.
Playing.
And that's
we
exactly,
were playing in the era where football was football.
Correct, and that's exactly what I was going to say. And it's amazing to see the reaction to this video, and to see the people who are okay with it, who have mostly played the game or been around it or are knowledgeable, and the people that aren't okay with it, who are viewers of the game, and or, like Rickie just said, they grew up in a different style of football. Now, we didn't grow up in leather helmets and coaches grabbing our face mask and spitting in our face and telling us that, we didn't have to run. Like, we didn't grow up like that, but we also didn't grow up in don't touch a guy above the shoulders, or don't touch a guy below the knees. Right. So now, what's the difference between this block? First of all, for everybody out there, it's a totally legal play. All right. It's a shame that somebody got hurt. It's a totally legal play by the rule book of the NFL. Now, he turns his body, he gets rolled up on. It's an unfortunate event, but in the scheme of the NFL, it's a legal play. Now, to that point, what's the difference between this play and what we do to protect our wide receivers and our defenseless receivers, when you say you can't go to the head, but now you got all these DBs that are
going at the legs?
Yeah, exactly. So what's the difference? You're going to take out somebody with a concussion, or you're going to take out somebody with an ACL. Like, where's the middle ground here? And what's the difference in this play? The only difference is this is legal, okay, and the shots above the head aren't legal. I mean, so I like you said, it's funny to hear the reactions. Even Micah Parsons saying there's no place for it in the game. Be a man. What, dude? He's 6'6", 265 pounds. Like,
that's my thing.
What are you doing?
So,
like, I don't know, man. I just think it was unfortunate and that he got injured, but it's not dirty. It's not dirty in my opinion.
So what's really funny is we're three offensive players. I'm a running back, so guess what? I cut the hell out of a ton of people. I'm only 5'9", and I was only 205 pounds at the most. So when I got a linebacker, like one of those guys that played for the New Brandenburg Sharks that were 265 pounds coming up the A-gap, guess what? I'm cutting those guys, and they're falling on top of me too, by the way. That sucks. But I want you to look at this. I'm going to bring this up again. Yeah, I'm going to here we go. I'm going to bring this up again, and I'm going to pause it at a certain moment, because here he comes, okay? So you see the tight end coming across. He's squared up on him. He's not even paying attention to the running back, right?
Nope.
So he played again, and now we're going to go. So now he's getting ready to take this on.
Square? Yeah.
Still square. So now he turns sideways.
Wow.
So he turns sideways.
Wow.
Yep, to absorb the hit, and the guy's going low, and it goes right into his leg. So my thing with this is that is not how you take on a cut block. Like, you got to get square, and you get your hands on his pads, and you get your legs the hell out of there. A lot of guys will try to jump that cut block, and that's when you see guys start flying in the air. Yeah. But the main thing I started seeing on this particular play was people were saying, oh, well, cut blocks are illegal. No, chop blocks are illegal. Chop blocks is when you're engaged with a defender and you go at their legs. That's a chop. A cut block is when you go at a person who's not engaged in a play and you're trying to block them, but they may outweigh you or whatever it is, and you're just trying to stop them from being able to make a play. Now, you guys may recognize plays like this, especially they happen 100 times on Sunday. So right here, you're going to see Kyle Juszczyk, okay? He's going to motion over, and you're going to see the Rams defensive end come up, and he does the same exact thing. There's the end. And what does he do? Cuts him. Nobody's crying. Nobody's complaining. And that
that's how you take. But that's how you take on a cut block.
Exactly.
That's how you take on a cut block. And it just goes back to getting a little bit off topic. Thibodeau not really having a great camp. Not really impressing a lot of people. And that clip, how you just broke it down right there and slowed it down, dude. I don't know. Is he as good as advertised? I don't know.
I don't know.
That ain't the way you take on a cut.
Definitely not the way. Matter of fact, he wasn't even going after the ball, by the way.
I was a quarterback. The only thing that I would cut is the friggin' oranges at halftime. Like, you know?
If that. Don't want to get that popcorn on my hands, you know? So I'm a running back. I can talk about it. Drew, you play quarterback. Slick, you're out there on the perimeter there. When I think about cut blocks, I like to listen to the guys that had done it for a living. And here's a great clip from Mark Clareth, University of Idaho alum, by the way. We'll bring this up here and see what he's got to say. He's the one.
Boy stink here, and I decided to call this emergency meeting to address all you pearl clutchers that are on my timeline right now. And you know who you are. Cut blocking should be illegal. That play on Thibodeau was absolutely dirty, cowardly. Face him like a man. Yeah, like you would put your nose in there. Bottom line is, I don't care who you root for. That play is about as standard as it comes in the National Football League. And by the way, every team, and I mean every team, runs a sift off the backside. Because that's what that is. You're basically running either the right or the left, and a tight end or a fullback or a wide receiver crosses the formation to cut the end man on the line of scrimmage so he can't chase the play. I would argue that Thibodeau just put out teaching tape of how not to defend a cut block, because that might be the worst play I've ever seen in regards to a guy defending himself.
Coming in
awful. Just awful. And I'm sorry that he got hurt, guys, but it reminds me of guys that used to come up to me after we played and saying, you held me on every play. Like, it's unfair. I would have kicked your ass if it wasn't for all that holding. Hey, dumbass, don't get held. That's your fault. You're going to give me your chest? I'm going to take it, and I'm going to hold you all day long, drive you like a freaking Cadillac.
Hey, I was with him until the holding thing. This is actually a pretty cool thing. That's a pretty cool fact there. Larry went to high school with them in Anchorage, Alaska. Do we need to fact check that or no?
I believe him. I honestly believe anything that Larry says. But hey, you want to know what? That's what it comes down to. He's an old school guy. I think some of these new school guys. By the way, he happened to call all those pearl clutchers. That cracked me up. By the way, Rich Eisen did recant his statement and said that he is on Mark's side after watching it again and again. But we got some other stuff to talk about.
I didn't know that. Rich took his statements back because he made some pretty heavy statements for the other side. He did.
The very next day. Next day he went on there. Yeah. The very next day. But we got some news coming out of Tampa Bay camp. Tom Brady took a vacation. Now, we didn't talk about it last week because he was only gone at that point.
Let me get ready for this, bro.
Yeah, get ready. Buckle yourself in. He was gone for about 4 days, and we didn't quite know how long. But then it turned into, dude was gone 11 days.
Yeah.
Leaves training camp, right? Now, I don't know. Like, my biggest thing on this is it's in the middle of training camp. I remember Michael Strahan did this way back in the day, missed the entire training camp, got fined like $150,000. He said it was the best $150,000 he ever spent in a missed training camp. And he was on the tail end of his career. What are your thoughts on this? Like, it's Tom Brady, but then he does miss training camp for 11 days, and his teammates are having to ask questions like, where the hell is he? Like, why did he do this? Did you know about this? Like, what are your thoughts, Drew? I know you're fired up on it.
I'm almost tempted to let Rickie go first because I'm going to have to go through the roof because I'm going or whatever. This is absolutely ridiculous. I don't care who you are, Tom. I don't care how many rings you have, how many MVP awards you won. You are the franchise quarterback, and you're going to miss 11 days of camp for a family vacation? What are you, in high school, guys? Come on. I mean, you just had 185 days off, and now you're going to go and miss 11 days during camp while your brothers are out there sweating, grinding, bleeding, and putting in the work to get ready for the season, and you're out there sucking face with Giselle? Come on, man. I hate this story, and I hate the fact that nobody talked about it. No, the head coach wouldn't talk about it. Everybody was like, oh, it's Tom. He can do what he wants. That's BS, dude. He's the quarterback. Let Kyle Trask go in there and spin it because that's how I feel at this point. Screw Tom. That's BS, man.
So there's this going around, and this is the perfect segue into it.
God, I
Jeff
need a
Lamb,
blood pressure pill.
My wife heard a rumor that he was doing the Masked Singer. So, okay, so let's talk about it. Slick, what do you think about this first? Like, before we kind of break everything down, like, what are your initial thoughts on it? Because I know yours are a little bit different than Drew's.
I mean, for me, like, I it's not that I disagree with Drew. I get exactly where he's coming from, because if I was a receiver in the NFL or in a team and my quarterback did that, like, I wouldn't care about the whole experience and what he did prior to, and if he's the GOAT, if he's not the GOAT, like, I wouldn't care about that either, just because I understand that we have an opportunity to be good and I'm trying to chase another championship. So I get it from that standpoint.
Or like Julio Jones, who came there because Tom Brady's there, and all of a sudden he's gone for 11 days.
Exactly. So I get it from that standpoint. But on the other end, is for me, it's kind of like we don't know mentally where he was at. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Oh, that could have been some extra time that he took off from it. Like Drew said, he did have 185, but at the same time, we don't know what he was doing within that time span. Those 11 days, that could have been time that he was really getting away to, like, really free his mind, or it could have been vacation time to where it's like, hey, Giselle, kids, understand that I'm going back in season, so let's do whatever we need to do within these 11 days, get our family time in, because, you know, I'm on go once the season starts. So, I mean,
there's 75 other guys on the team that got a Giselle and kids at home.
You're right.
They deserve it. Why
and that's not even counting the coaching staff.
They have built-in days for these veterans. Built-in days off. If they're Veterans Day, they can do whatever the hell they want. It's 1 or 2 days a week for these guys.
You're right.
Like I said, does Tom need to work? No, probably not.
I don't
the other guys need to work with Tom.
I don't disagree with you. I mean, I get it, man. But I mean,
so for me,
I'm glad I'm not a Bucs fan. So it doesn't affect me.
Yeah, that's the thing. Now, okay, we know that Tom Brady is going to get a little bit more leash than, let's say, a Tom Maddox, right? He's going to get leeway. Sure. Now, from my understanding of the situation, I mean, first of all, the dude retired back in, what was it, May? He said, "I'm done. Like, I'm done doing this," or even it might have been earlier. Yeah, and then they kind of talked him into coming back. It lasted like 3 weeks, and then I think he realized he had to actually be home with his family. He's like, "Wait a second, I'm coming back." So he comes back, and this might have been one of those things that, you know, everybody said, the coaches said, "Hey, this was a pre-planned thing." We talked about our thoughts. I was hoping that it wasn't like a medically related to somebody in his family. I know his mom has had cancer in the past. We thought about that, but then all of a sudden, now he's taking a vacation. Like a vacation with his family and going wherever. Okay, that's great. I'm always up for family time. But you said you were coming back, and this is training camp with the rest of your guys. Like, you made a commitment. And I'm not going to sit here and, like, question Tom's commitment, because he's more committed to, like, football than anybody on planet Earth that I've ever seen. But this is uncharacteristic. This, to me, sends a message like, I don't know how in it he is this year. Like, this isn't the same guy that is like chasing after all this. This is not the characteristic that he's shown in the past of doing whatever he can to win. This is all of a sudden like, yeah, you have 7 Super Bowls. I get it. And he is going to have some leash with his teammates because he is the GOAT and he has done the things that he's done. At the same time, it sets a double standard on your football team that Tom Brady can get away with this, but you rookie that are on the bubble, you can't get away with this. And Julio Jones, you can't get away with this and all this stuff. So for that reason, because it sets a double standard and shows that, hey, you're going to be held to a different set of rules than everybody else. While some people agree with it or not, to me, from a team aspect, I don't agree with it whatsoever. If you're going to be there, be there. It's your time to go. The NFL season isn't that long to begin with, and he had the entire summer to go on a damn vacation.
Correct.
You know, this is horrible planning by him, and the fact that his teammates had to answer those questions, and there was not that communication either. Like, if they just came out and said when he came out, yeah, Tom's going to take off 10 days in training camp is something that was already agreed upon and just been upfront about it. But there was it was speculation.
It would have been better if they did that.
It would have been way better.
Yeah, I think a lot more people would have understood the situation and been appreciative of the situation, but you got the head coach dodging questions, you got the players dodging questions, which they shouldn't have to be dealing with. So thanks a lot, leader. Thanks a lot, quarterback, for putting us in that spot trying to cover for your ass while you're out there on the beach. All right, you got Adam Schefter dodging questions. Like, dude, it's if it's not okay for this guy, then it shouldn't be okay for this guy. And I don't care who you are, man.
He's turning 45 years old. What happens if they start 0-2 and have a slow start? What are people going to point to? Those 11 days. Those 11 days. That's what it's going to be talking about. And then guess what? His teammates have to answer more questions. Raheem Morris has to answer more questions. All those things. So it's I don't like it.
I think you hit the nail on the head, man, when you say where's his commitment level at? Because if he's just out there because he's good at football and wants to be and enjoys it. Dude, he's not fully invested.
Yeah,
so we'll see. Time will tell. He is Brady. I mean, I give him that, but dude, I don't excuse that crap.
I mean, like you said, if they start at 0-2, of course they're going to point the finger at the vacation. But what if he comes out hot?
It doesn't change It doesn't change the locker room. It doesn't change the locker room effect for me. The teammate effect.
I get that.
The public eye is completely different because I'm sure there's people that are okay with this right now. But from a and I'm not saying you have to be a former player, but as a former player, if I've seen that and I'm in that locker room, dude, it's a problem for me.
Yeah,
and I would never do it. And I'm not Tom Brady, but I would never do anything like that.
No, exactly. I think that's what it comes down to for me is that you got to look those other guys in the eye. And yeah, Tom Brady's a different player. I understand that. But it's the example that you're setting with your team. Every year is a new year. It's different. Every single year, you got a new group of guys. What you've done in the past, and the media is the first one to let you know, in the past doesn't matter. It's what happens right now and what have you done for me lately.
Yeah.
Larry. What if he was contractually obligated to something else because he was supposed to be retired when he made the obligation? So I think
that's a mass singer. That's the mass.
If that's the case, which Tom Brady has come out and denied the fact that he's on the Masked Singer. He said, I wasn't on the Masked Singer, but I did wear a mask. So where are you? On vacation? Are you flying somewhere? But if he was obligated contractually to do something else, tell us. Say, like Brandon said earlier, hey, this was agreed upon before he came back. Tom's going to miss 10 or 11 days in camp. Just be honest. Stop beating around the bush. That's all. That's my problem with it. I think that would have went over with a lot more people a lot better. So.
Oh, absolutely. And then the whole mass thing. Let's just run this scenario before we move on to the next thing. Wherever he went, what if he brought COVID into that locker room and then some rookie who's trying to make the squad gets COVID and has to sit out 5 days and gets cut because he can't go out there and prove himself? There's a ripple effect for everything.
If he's not symptomatic, then why is he getting tested?
I agree. I'm just saying.
Topic.
I'm just saying.
Let's move on because
that's a different world. All right. So we got our 2-minute drill coming up. We're going to go over a couple different things right here, but let me get my beat going. All right, here we go. This is the latest news. Defense end Washington and quarterback Jason Barrett, 49ers will start the 2022 season on the PUP list. Both players will miss at least the first 4 games of the season, and both players missed significant time last season with ACL injuries. Drew, what do you think on this? Is this a big deal for Chase Young and the Washington Commanders?
Oh yeah, I think it's. I mean, he's one of their the faces of the defense. So if you're gonna be missing him, they're already pretty limited. So it's not gonna certainly not gonna help.
Oh, absolutely. The Carolina Panthers stated on Monday that Baker Mayfield will be their starter for their Week 1 game against Baker's former team, the Cleveland Browns. Slick, what do you think about this? Do you think this is good that they announced him so early in the preseason?
Confidence-wise, yes. I've never been against Baker Mayfield. I mean, I like to watch him play in college, and when he was with the Browns, I mean, of course he wasn't elite and he wasn't great, but I feel like he did some good things within the organization. I mean, I enjoy watching him. I'm eager to see what he does with the Panthers. He has new weapons. Defense is a little different, so who knows?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good thing. The Los Angeles Chargers cornerback J.C. Jackson, a prize free agent that they got from New England, he's going to be out 2 to 4 weeks after ongoing ankle surgery. The team announced on Tuesday. Drew, is this a big deal for the Chargers and their secondary as they approach the season?
I think it is because JC was one of the big additions to that secondary who desperately needed a little bit of pass coverage help. If he can get back in 2 weeks, all right, we're talking about maybe week 2, week 3, but anything longer than that, man, I think they're going to suffer a little bit of effect from it.
And finally, the Las Vegas Raiders release running back Kenyon Drake on Monday. That is the first surprise cut of the preseason. Slick, what do you think of that move, releasing Kenyon Drake?
That was kind of surprising to me. Has he been the same Drake he was at Bama? No. But I feel like he still had a decent or significant role within what they do offensively. I don't know. I feel like somebody will pick him up. Who?
I think so.
I don't know, but I feel like he'll get picked up real quick.
That might be one of those veteran releases. Get out there.
And we're going to talk about it later, but the Eagles are in the market for a running back. Could be a good landing spot for him.
Could be.
That'd be good. Boys, I think we scored on that one. That one we really did. I think we kept it about a couple minutes.
We kept that short, man. It was
that
good.
Was good.
Hey, we're getting better. We're getting better.
We are getting better. No, I absolutely love that. Matter of fact, all this news, it's a lot of stuff that we really need to know for, like my fantasy football draft and stuff coming up.
Oh, yeah, hey, definitely fantasy football, man.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Am I That can only mean one thing is we have the Pigskin Profit.
The Pigskin Profit has finally arrived.
He's finally here.
He is on the hottest podcast on the web, and it's the only one he will be on.
All right, we love it. Well, hey, what makes you the Pigskin Profit, man? Like, we're gonna be listening to you and kind of your take on things, but what makes you the Prophet?
Okay. This is 32 years now. I've been running a fantasy football league, plus being in other schmuck leagues too over that time. Okay. But let me go back. Year 5. It wasn't me that made me the Pigskin Profit. Okay. A guy in our league who just happened to have the absolute best fantasy football team named up to that point in time. Yeah, we were like Mike's Maniacs and Bill's Ballers and shit. This guy,
Profit, we have language barriers.
Oh, Profit has to take a step back. Sorry about that. This guy's name was Hot Wings and Wet Clams. At a time, like I said, it was unheard of. It was the greatest fantasy football name going.
Say no more, Prophet. Say no more. We're with you now.
after 5 weeks of being in the league and seeing the predictions that I was making and the moves that were being made, I pick every game of every week in our league. I'm something crazy, like 1,203 is my record over the 32 years.
Wow. It's impressive.
It's absurd. Okay. He dubbed me the Pigskin Profit. And
the clam guy.
The wet clam guy, yeah.
Okay.
Wet clam guy.
Now, considering the fact that in 31 years, I've won the championship 8 years, been in the championship game 16 years, and been in the playoffs 28 of them years. Now, we've had some big time names, man. We've had Moscone, Fats, Ivy, Elmer, Daffy. Yeah, we've had some big names in this league. Be in the playoffs for 28 years, man. That's saying something.
I love it.
In essence, he was probably the real prophet to be able to see just what I had. But God rest his soul. I'll take the moniker for that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So a lot of fantasy football drafts are coming up. And by the way, there's some people in the chat room right now that I'm going up against. So they're going to be listening to you. And who are your top running backs that you're looking at, that if they're on the board, you got to take them? Who are your no-brainer guys that you're looking at for your fantasy draft?
Okay, well, I mean, obviously, that kid from Indianapolis, what's his name?
Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, him. I mean, he's a no-brainer. And I'll tell you what, it's really going out on a limb. Maybe not. But McCaffrey, I think, is going to have. I think he's going to come back and he's going to be healthy this year. And if he does, he's going to outperform Taylor. If he's healthy.
Wow.
Okay, it's a big if.
What did the prophet just prophesize? That Christian McCaffrey, if healthy, will outperform Jonathan Taylor.
If healthy, he will be the number one running back in fantasy.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are your feelings about Christian McCaffrey's been a guy that's been riddled with injuries lately. Similar to him, Saquon Barkley has been in that. Now they've gone very high in drafts lately. Are you as high on Saquon Barkley as you are on Christian McCaffrey?
Can you say the New York Giants?
Yes.
I mean, can you be high on anybody from the New York Giants?
I got it.
Now, Barkley, I think he's going to be a mid-tier back this year. He's not there. There are some schmucks out there, saying he's a 3-4 running back. Nah. Listen to me.
You had another no-brainer at running back, correct?
Yeah, I did, and it's the older Cook brother. Although the younger Cook brother may have a nice season up there, but Dalvin, he's a steady back. He's going to have a good year.
You said Dalvin Cook?
Yeah.
Mr. Profit, Larry thinks that this is insider trading. He's getting insider knowledge here.
And he's not paying a dime for it. Man, quit complaining, Larry.
Get him, Profit.
If you want to send the check out, I'm more than willing to accept it.
Wait, is this the Profit with an F or Profit with a PH? Because there's a difference here.
Well, guess what? This is the Profit with the PH. Okay, but the Profit with the F comes during the course of the year when I'm raking in the money.
Oh, absolutely. I love it. So who are some of your dark horses that you have out there that might not be household names that you're looking at, right now that could win you that fantasy football money at the end of the trophy?
Okay. At quarterback, he is a household name, but he also is a dark horse. And you guys, this guy in the bottom right here, he had an issue with him. when they were 16 years old, you know. Okay, he threw the ball a little harder than he did.
To not get me started. Profit,
But
listen, I'm not afraid to open up a can of whoop ass, if you know what I'm saying.
I honestly think Russell Wilson is going to have a bounce back year, and he's you know, a lot of drafts have already happened. I don't know where he's been going. I don't follow that. I follow my own stuff. I don't listen to these Mel Kipers of the fantasy football world. Okay. Russell Wilson is going to have a bounce back year this year, and you're going to be able to get him at a decent price.
All right. I like that.
Okay.
I like that. I could see that happening too. I think he's got a good team around him. You know, I don't carry that grudge. He didn't do that to me when I was 16 years old.
He
so
sucks. Russell Wilson sucks.
He sucks.
Yeah, just because this guy was 6'3" and Russell Wilson was like 5'4", and you know, you gotta let it go, son. You gotta let it go.
Profit.
Who else you got on that? Who else you got on that list there? So you got Russell Wilson. What else you got there?
Okay, a guy that didn't play last year. He was on the team, and Slick. I think he's from your home state. Well, he's not from your home state, but he's playing in your home state. Travis Etienne. Okay.
Okay.
ETN. Yep.
Etienne. Okay, sorry. You know, geez, you're an English professor now. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Look for
Profit. Did you see the video that we posted a couple weeks
With his
ago?
foot?
The way his foot ran.
Yeah, I saw it. Okay. Okay, and don't worry about that. Look,
I was trying to correct you on his name. Like we need to correct his foot.
Excuse me 1 second. This might be Mrs. Profit. Yeah, I know. I am killing it, honey, but I'm busy right now. Okay. Okay.
So no concerns with the foot injury.
No concerns with the foot whatsoever. Jacksonville is not, obviously they're not going to make the playoffs, but they're going to be a surprise team this year. Trevor Lawrence is going to have a pretty decent season also. So, Etienne. Okay. My wide receiver, seeing how I got limited for some reason here, but okay. I like Allen Robinson.
Okay.
I think he's going to take the place of OBJ. Van Jefferson's a decent receiver, but he's not a 2. Okay. Robinson's going to go in there, and he's going to have the kind of year that OBJ would have had if he was in LA all year last year. So
Matt Stafford's arm, you're not worried about Matt Stafford's arm and his tendonitis?
The rubber band? Nah, it's good. It's good. Okay. Inside information, like Larry was talking about, you know, he's fine.
All right.
Okay. Now, here's the surprise area that we get to, though. The guys that you want to stay away from. And
okay, I'm excited for this. Right?
I
want you to draft every one of these guys.
Let me get my book out. My draft's in a week here.
I got three heavy hitter names here. Okay. Top dog, Aaron Rodgers.
Stay away.
Stay away from Rodgers.
Stay away from Aaron Rodgers. Okay. He lost his
Kabasi's going to jump in this chat any minute now.
Devontae is gone. Okay. Devontae is gone, and Lazard. Who else they got out there?
They got Amari Rodgers,
Cobb,
Sammy Watkins.
Yeah,
and there's one other guy. You know what? Okay, yeah, Sammy Watkins. Sorry, Slick Rick.
It's okay.
They don't have a 1 there. They don't have a 1. He's such a head case. You know, the first time Lazard drops a ball, which will probably be the first pass of game 1, he may not get another pass thrown to him. Sammy's going to drop balls. Stay away from Aaron Rodgers. Okay. I'm going to skip over the running backs because you're not going to believe the running back, and I'm going to go to the receiver. Stay away from Devontae Adams. Okay.
Whoa!
Yeah,
that's big.
I know.
Ricky's face dropped. I don't
know. You're gonna. Most people are going to spend a high number 1 draft pick on this guy. Okay. Derek Carr. Derek Carr is not Aaron Rodgers. Okay. Adams had five games last year that he had less than 75 yards receiving. The first game of the year, which they got blown out 38-3 because Rodgers wasn't in the preseason. Hey, I pay attention.
Oh, we're not worthy. We're not worthy.
And the last game of the year, which was against, I believe, Detroit, and they didn't need it. Yeah. Him and Rodgers were a combo that you won't see again for a while. Okay. But Carr and Adams are not that combination. Okay. Now, I don't really want to elaborate much more on that one because I want to get to the next one. Okay.
Before you get to the next one, Prophet, do you not think that the chemistry that Carr and Adams had in college at Fresno State will carry over with the Raiders?
I don't. I really don't, because they were excellent in college. There's no doubt about it, and they will have some chemistry going there. Okay, but again, Derek Carr. I'm sorry. College is a lot different, you know.
It is.
Yeah, we're not playing against Southwestern Missouri State here, you know.
And he's in the AFC West, you know, which would normally say that, you know, Carr's going to have to throw the ball 50 times a game, which should be good for Adams. But if you're only completing 20 of them 50 passes, it's going to be hard for Adams to have a good season. Write this down, okay?
Writing it down.
In 18 weeks, we can talk. We can talk about it.
Oh, we will.
Okay. And the last one, the big name, do not touch Derrick Henry.
Oh my God.
I'm with you on that one. I'm 100% with you on that one. Because is this the year the wheels fall off?
You just set the internet ablaze.
Yes.
Why not?
I need a shot before the shot segment.
Okay. Well, Derrick Henry, you know, I've not been sold on Tannehill, you know, his whole career. And now that they lost A.J. Brown, they don't have a legitimate passing game. Teams are going to be stacking the box against him. He hurt his foot last year. He came back in the playoff game. He probably shouldn't have because he was not ready. Okay. I think I really see that this is going to be a slowing year for Henry and the Titans in general. Now, the Titans are my home team. So
wait, are you saying that you're from the state of Tennessee?
Tennessee, Texas, Georgia. I'm from everywhere. Okay. I got a lot of home teams. Okay. But yeah, stay away from Derrick Henry. People are going to take him number 1, number 2, number 3. Okay. He might get you your 10 touchdowns. But is 10 touchdowns what you want out of, you know, the first, second, or third pick in the draft?
No.
Not me.
Man.
Not unless it's coming with 1,800 yards.
Yeah, and that's not going to happen because that wheel won't give them 1,800 yards. So,
wow,
I agree with you.
Well, Prophet, this has been enlightening.
it
is. I can't wait to see some of this. So some of it, obviously,
we set the comment section ablaze
on
here.
fire. It was going on fire. People are scared. Some people are scared. So Woodrow Piney says this Prophet's growing on me, but I'm nervous.
We're all nervous.
Hey.
I think we're all a little nervous here.
Hey, you want to know what? It's a prophecy, though. It's a prophecy.
Is a prophecy, and the fact that your comment line is going ablaze justifies the private jet, the limos, the 5-star accommodations, and the big-time appearance fee that you're paying for me to be here tonight. So,
I love it.
Thank you very much.
Hey, we can't wait to have you back on, man. I love the fact that you came in here with some stuff that not everybody's saying, and I can't wait to see what happens because we're gonna have to have those conversations.
Well,
but
if you guys want me back, I'll be back.
Absolutely. I think our fans here.
Fee?
Yeah, that was just the first. That was just the one-time thing.
It's a one-time.
One-time fee, because we don't have any sponsors yet. So if you guys are listening, we need some help to pay for the
except
profit.
for Larry. Whoever knows Larry, you let him know that I want some insider trading money for that. Yeah.
Hey, Woodrow Piney says come back. I think we're gonna have you back for sure. And we're gonna have some. We're having a little pick competition here during the course of the season. So I can't wait to see what your thoughts are on some lock picks each week. We can't wait to have you back.
That's when the profit turns into the profit with
that's
the
when. Oh yeah, show me the
exactly.
money.
Yeah.
Thank you, Profit.
Thank you,
for
Profit.
joining
Thank
us.
you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, Almighty
gentlemen.
Prophet.
It's been a pleasure.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Okay.
Oh man, that was phenomenal.
Wow.
That was
I'm
great.
enlightened.
Hey, he said some stuff that went crazy there. The Aaron Rodgers, I can see it though. He doesn't have his number one guy, and when he doesn't and he struggles, I can definitely see that. I can see Derrick Henry, the wheels falling off. It's been going for too long, right? He's turning 29 years old, and he's had a ton of carries.
We talk about it all the time, the shelf life of the running backs, and Henry's reaching that. I did learn one thing, that even in the land of enlightenment, the Prophet still has a cell phone.
He does. Yeah.
And he doesn't know how to put it on silent during the podcast.
Oh, that's great. Well, hey, we got to get to our AFC East preview. This is a
NFC.
big division. NFC. I said AFC. We've been doing the AFC for weeks, so now we're finally on the NFC.
Happy
Thank
to
God.
dive in finally, bro.
Yeah, let's dive into this. The first team that we got up here is the Washington Commanders. I'm still not used to their name at all.
I know, right?
But obviously, one of the biggest moves that they made in the offseason was they acquired Carson Wentz as their quarterback. They drafted Jahan Dotson in the NFL draft, and they brought in some offensive linemen. So they got Andrew Norwell, guard. They did cut Eric Flowers, and they lost Brandon Sheriff. So I don't know how that's going to work out, and Landon Collins is out of there. What do you guys think of the Washington Commanders this year? I'm not really sold on Wentz, but we'll start off with Coach Drew. What do you think about the Washington Commanders?
Dude, first of all, they had how many years to think of a name, and they come up with the Commanders? I mean, come on, let's get
right.
real. All right, you guys know, man. We talk about it. I'm from the Philly suburbs. Like, I know Carson Wentz. I've seen him. I hated the draft pick when the Eagles made it, however many years ago. He's bounced around. All right. You hear the stories of the Colts owner coming out and saying that he was a problem for the team. This guy isn't the answer for anybody's program. And I think that the Commanders are going to learn that early. Okay. And I think they're already starting to see it, because if you read the reports that are going on from training camp, his accuracy has been in question. His leadership has been in question. And I just don't think, there's a reason why, this guy's been to 3 different teams now in however many years he's been in the league. So I don't think Wentz is going to be the answer. Dude, these guys are cellar dwellers. It's going to be I'd rather go golfing on a Sunday afternoon than to watch the Commanders play the Giants here in the NFC East.
Oh, man. What do you think, Slick? What do you think about the Commanders going into 2020?
I kind of agree with Drew. Just from what I've seen in preseason and the moves that they've tried to make, stuff that they've let get away, I'm not really impressed. But I did see some positives in Howell from North Carolina, the quarterback. I've seen some positives in him in a couple preseason games that I've watched, but I don't think it's anything major to where he's going to turn the page to where he will end up taking Wentz's position unless Wentz gets hurt.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, people like, Taylor Heineke, Carson Wentz, he's a boom or bust, and oftentimes it's more bust after a short boom, right? Like, he does things for you for a little while, like with the Colts last year, got him in position to get to the playoffs, and then they have a game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. All you got to do is beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, and what happens? When it's on the line, he does not get it done. The Washington Commanders, their defense should be good, but I just think that Carson Wentz is going to make those mistakes when it's going to cost him the most, and that's what he's historically done over the course of his career.
They don't have enough offensively to get it done, I don't think.
Yeah,
and I'll be surprised if he makes it through the whole season. Like, I think this could be the year or next year where we find out that dude, he's finding his way out of the league. Not out of the league, but people, they're not going to see him with these blind eyes that they've been seeing him with for whatever reason. Because I don't know what spell he holds on people, but dude, I just do not think that he's a good quarterback.
Teams don't like all good quarterbacks.
It'd be another Case Daniels, second, third string guy just collecting the check.
Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah, teams don't let go of him, and when the Colts let him go, and this was before they knew that they were going to have a chance at Matt Ryan. They were so pissed off over that game against the Jaguars because they legitimately had a team that could go last year, and they just needed to get in the tournament, and he couldn't get them there. He played the worst game there. So I'm with you. I don't think they'll be bottom dwellers in this division because I think that's up for this next team here, the New York Football Giants. But I don't think they'll be far. I don't think that they'll be 500 at all. All right, we got the New York Football Giants here. They bring in Coach Brian Daboll over from the Buffalo Bills, new head coach. They start to try to build up their offensive line. They bring in John Feliciano, a center from the Bills, Jamil Douglas, a guard from Washington, and Mark Glowinski, from a guard from Indianapolis. So they're making a point to try to build around Daniel Jones, at least on that front line. I can't say that it's been helping by the looks of the preseason, by the way. They did lose Evan Ingram, Will Hernandez, a guard, Jabril Peppers, safety to New England, and Danny Shelton, their nose tackle. What do you guys think about the New York Giants? We'll start with Slick on this one.
I haven't seen anything impressive throughout the preseason. Again, just like not the Redskins, the Commanders. I don't feel like they really made any moves other than the couple guys you just named on the O-line. But as far as skill guys on the perimeter offensively and guys in the secondary or backers, I don't see any improvement. I don't think they I think they'll be at the bottom of the bottom.
What do you think, Drew?
So my best friend's wife works for the Giants. All right. So I think they're a great team. I think they're going to have a very good year, and you should all definitely buy season tickets from the New York Giants because they're a great squad and they put on a great event. Man, these guys they're the bottom of the barrel here. You talk about Daniel. We talked about it before, the overvaluation of quarterbacks. Say no more with Daniel Jones. Why? Like, dude, these guys have been notoriously drafting poorly for years, and Jones is is no different than that. You talk about Barkley coming in. Barkley can't stay healthy. I don't think it's going to happen with him, and that's unfortunate because he was such a great player in college. Dude, I like Thibodeau coming out of college, but he's not really transitioning well, and we'll see how he does. I guess on Sundays, but
he's got to learn how to take on a cut block. That's
for damn sure, because that looked like
that could be a career ender right there.
And you bring it upon yourself. But no, the Giants, man, they're always the NFC East, and I don't know. I guess because I don't follow a lot of other divisions as closely as the NFC East, but the NFC East is always scrappy, so they're always going to be tough divisional games. But I don't think these Giants are gonna make much noise at all. And like I said, it's going to be the Commanders and the Giants for the bottom of the pot here.
Yeah. What do you think, Slick, about the Giants? It sounds like, even from my point of view, there's not a lot to write home about. I don't know if they got a guy behind center. They didn't extend his fifth-year option. They might be trying to put things around him, but they bring in guys like Kenny Golladay, who can't get in the end zone last year. What are your thoughts on this team going into 2022?
Basically the same thing Drew just said. I just don't see it. I just don't feel like they brought enough in offensively or defensively to help Jones or just the organization in general. I don't know.
It's rebuild.
They
haven't officially blown it up yet, but I feel like I don't think Daniel Jones is going to be the guy. Do you think that he finishes the season as their starting quarterback?
No, I don't think so.
Who's their backup?
Exactly.
I don't know. Yeah,
I don't know.
No, and Jeff just made a comment here.
Isn't Tyrod Taylor there?
Tyrod Taylor, you're absolutely right.
Is it Tyrod? No,
yep.
He might not finish the season as a starter. Tyrod is that career backup dude that'll just take your spot every year. Like he'll come in, they know what you're going to get.
As long as he doesn't get a needle in the lung, then he'll be all right.
That was crazy. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. They got a new head coach. I like Dable. I'm a Dable fan, but I would go back to his days at Alabama. But dude, there's not enough there right now.
Yeah. Next up, we got the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, Drew, you live in the area. To me, there's some real buzz around this team this year. Last year, I was very critical on the Philadelphia Eagles. My neighbor is a big-time Philadelphia Eagles fan, and I would tell him across the fence they're not going to do squat, and they made the playoffs. So I got to eat crow on that almost every single time I see him. Mm-hmm. But now I'm looking at this roster, and they bring in A.J. Brown. They bring in Hassan Reddick off the edge. They bring in a safety with experience in big games and Jaquiski Tart. They bring in James Bradbury from those New York Football Giants, and they bring in a big receiver, Zach Pascal, from the Indianapolis Colts, and they didn't really lose anybody. Brandon Brooks was one of their guards or offensive linemen that he retired. I feel like they did a lot more adding than they did subtracting. What are your thoughts on them, Drew?
Yeah, like you hit the nail on the head here. I think the city's kind of buzzing a little bit. I've been listening to sports talk radio a little bit, and even the hosts are kind of saying that maybe the Super Bowl is a lofty goal this year. But dude, I'll tell you what, man. If Jalen Hurts comes out and plays the way he's capable of playing, I'm not saying they're going to the Super Bowl, but I'm going to say they're going to be a good football team. It's going to be a good battle to watch over the season for the NFC East, because I think and we'll talk about the Cowboys, but between the Eagles and the Cowboys, they're going to go hand in hand. Hurts, I saw an interesting stats on Hurts, and Hurts is the only player in the NFL history to have 4,000 passing yards and 1,000 rushing yards through his first 20 career starts, and he did it in 19 starts. This guy is dynamic. All right, he can make plays with his feet. He can make plays with his arm. If Miles Sanders can stay healthy, which is a big if. I know he's hurt right now. The run game, like I said, I think the run game could be pretty good. They got a pretty decent offensive line. All right. And then, we talked about the receiving core before with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. And I guess they added Pascal. I don't know how he's doing or, how he's doing in camp. But dude, the Eagles got the guys, I think, to make some noise. And if they put it all together, I think they could win this division. I don't love Sirianni. I think he's a nerd. He goes around wearing Jalen t-shirts with Jalen Hurts on them, which is weird to me. But yeah, I think they got a good program.
I think with these Eagles,
Sanders did get hurt, Jeff.
Now the NFC East, right? They have not had a back-to-back division champion, and I believe it's 16 years. This might be the 17th. So whoever won it last year, which was the Dallas Cowboys, have not come back to repeat that very next year. I feel like the Eagles, they got beat up by those Cowboys last year, but they did a lot to add to their squad. Slick, when you look at this roster, when you see A.J. Brown out there, you see Hurts at quarterback and the things that he can do with his arm and legs, and with the dynamic run game. Now, I know that they are in the market for a running back due to Sanders' injury history, and quite frankly, he's hurt right now. But what do you see with this team going forward in 2022?
Like Drew said, like we talked about, I think it was the first show, a lot of people were down on Hurts, but like I said, Hurts hadn't had a number one guy. He had a bunch of slot receivers, and they were basically just trying to make way with what they had. Now he has a for sure number one guy who has big playmaking ability, and now you can put Smith in mismatch situations with some of the other guys. So now offensively, I feel like it looks a little different. They do have some guys on defense, so I think they might take the division. And what's crazy about the Eagles though? Nick Sirianni, he was my receivers coach in college.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
was he a big nerd there too?
No,
did he wear you cool on his t-shirt?
Where'd you go to college?
I went to IUP, Indiana University of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's probably where he should be coaching still. But
hey, he brought that team that had no roster last year, in my opinion, to the playoffs.
Oh, did you hear? We're planting flowers and we're gonna we're gonna grow our roots.
He said this?
And yes, he said this last year. It was they
God.
ran him through the ringer here in Philadelphia, man. We're just
that's not
flowers,
a town that you say about planting flowers.
You put us in the soil, and we're gonna spread our roots, and we're gonna grow together, dude. It was wild.
Rocky runs up steps. He doesn't plant flowers. I guess that's probably something. Hey, I got them winning this division this year, guys.
Yeah,
I think that this is the team in the division. I think they're going to be scrappy. I think they're going to be physical. I think adding A.J. Brown on the perimeter is exactly what this offensive needed. I also think that Devonta Smith is more productive this year because it's not all on him. I think they can get a bunch of different matchups with him on the inside with having a legit outside number one wide receiver. I got them winning the division, which means bring it on,
boy.
Cowgirls. I do not have you guys repeating, but let's talk about them, okay? So last year they were 12-5. They were the NFC East champs, and they lost in great fashion in the wild card round to my San Francisco 49ers. Just spike the ball, Dak. Just spike the ball. They bring in James Washington from Pittsburgh. They bring in Anthony Barr, linebacker from Minnesota. They bring in Dante Fowler, and they drafted Tyler Smith to replace La'el Collins, who they lost in free agency to the Cincinnati Bengals. They lost Amari Cooper. They lost Randy Gregory, and they lost their third wide receiver in Cedric Wilson. I don't see how this team got better, quite honestly. I don't believe the hype. Now, they were the number one scoring offense in 2021, but when you look at who they played and how they got there, and when they played somebody that mattered, it went downhill, and they usually came up with the L. Slick, what do you think about the Cowboys going into this year? Are you high on them, or are you thinking a lot like I am here that they're gonna probably be a wild card team? I don't have them missing the playoffs, but I don't think they're winning the division.
No, I agree with you. I'm not high on them. I don't know. Like you said, they lost a lot. They didn't really bring in anything that was better than what they had in those particular areas. I feel like they probably would be a wild card team. I don't think they really do too much. Hopefully Dak stays healthy.
I think that's the thing. And Ezekiel Elliott, like, his contract is absurd. And he, by the way, he looks about 15 pounds heavier, and not a good way, in like a way that I am right now. Like, and they had him playing fullback a little bit. There's some clips of him playing fullback and Pollard getting the ball.
Right, because they really like Pollard. And he does
they
well
like
for
Pollard.
Them. Yeah,
he
Pollard's
really
gained a little
does.
weight too. Pollard got a little bigger too, and he's moving well with it.
Yeah, but
that's
Pollard's a good little back, man. And
I
we
like
ran
him.
that poll on Twitter about who's got the most pressure on him. Did Dak wind up winning that poll?
Dak did. He did.
Yeah, I agree.
Few.
Yeah, and I think I agree with that, because Dak has got a lot of pressure on him this year, because everybody's expecting the Cowboys to come out and do great things. They're supposed to win this division. Dak's the premier quarterback in this division, and he's got to go out and play like it. It's going to be tough for him because I don't think Elliott is anywhere near where he used to be. That's why these guys are leaning a little bit more towards Pollard at the running back position. But you mentioned it, man. That huge loss is going to come from Cooper, losing Amari Cooper, because he was such a dynamic receiver for them. And to lose somebody like that, and like Rick said, not to replace him with anybody nearly as talented, like, it's going to be tough for them. It's going to be tough for them to overcome. And I think it's going to be a good fight all year between the Cowboys and the Eagles for who's going to come out on top of the NFC East. Like you said, I think they're a playoff team. I don't know who's going to take the East, but they definitely got a shot.
Yeah, and they do. They went 12-5 last year. This is a good football team that we're talking about. And the NFC is wide open when you think about it. Really wide open. There's not one team that you can look at that you're like, that is the team. AFC has that, where you look at Cincinnati and Buffalo, where they're that team. Even the Rams, the defending champs, have some questions we'll talk about here in a couple weeks. But this NFC is wide open. But when it comes down to the Cowboys and having to play these tough physical teams like Philadelphia, those are the teams that they don't want to play. Those are the teams that they lost to last season. I don't see how they got better. But I do think that they'll be there in January. But I'm also not a believer in their head coach. I'm not a big Mike McCarthy fan. There's
No,
nothing
me neither.
genius that he does, and they have Kellen Moore, which is a Boise State guy here that's really loved in this valley here in Boise, Idaho. I just don't. He's got them humming on offense, but there's something missing, and I don't know what it is. It's their defense. They brought in Dan Quinn, and their defense was better last year, but not quite when it mattered. There was things that just went on within that team. There's like some sort of like funk that's in there that they look all shiny, but when you rub that shine off, it's just a bunch of garbage, really.
Right.
Like they just don't get it done when it matters, like these other teams do, like your Tampa Bay Buccaneers, like I don't want to say Green Bay because they haven't done it, but they've at least been to the playoffs year in and year out. Dallas only has 3 playoff wins since 2003.
Well,
3 playoff wins.
You can't really say the Bucs. They got Tom Brady, so that's why it's changed.
Yeah.
Before Tom Brady came, the Bucs were the Bucs.
And the big argument, and the big argument here, because Dallas and the Eagles is a huge rivalry. Like Dallas keeps throwing them Super Bowls in the Eagles' face, but the reality is they haven't done much in the last 20 years in the playoffs. So
no, they haven't, and there's just something about it, as far as. I don't know what it is. It could be Jerry Jones, how much he's involved with the team, but there's something that's got to change in their culture. And this is a big time year. Now you said it, Slick.
I agree.
You said it's because they got Tom Brady. Now everybody jumps on Dak. I don't think he's the guy. I honestly, personally do not think that he's the guy. He does not go out there to me and say that he wins games. He was a 4th round draft pick out of Mississippi State, I believe. And he had a really good year when they went 13-3. It was off of Ezekiel Elliott's big season. I think that was like his breakout year, but then they just haven't been able to get it done. But I got them as a wild card team, and I got the Eagles winning that division this year. And which we need to keep track of our division predictions, by the way, because we need to show them to the Prophet and see if he thinks that these are legit.
Prophet's been drinking a little bit of his own Kool-Aid, if you know what I'm saying.
Nice. Well, hey, so you got the Eagles. You guys all have the Eagles winning this division. Everybody.
I think it's a toss-up, man.
So.
I think they're very they got a chance. They got a chance, just like the Cowboys do. So.
I used to be indecisive. Now I'm not so sure. Boys, it's time for our hot shot of the week.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
All right. So I'm going to start first. Hot shot of the week. My hot shot of the week is my daughter for going to kindergarten, her first day. I'm so proud to watch her just go in there and make friends. She's starting up soccer. It's just really cool as a dad. She's definitely my hot shot of the week. Just seeing her go through this entire experience, man. And anybody that can make me cry like a baby. My wife gets mad that I didn't cry at our wedding, but I cried at Iron Man dying. She gets pissed off at that all the time. So spoiler alert, it's been out for 5 years. But my hot shot of the week is my daughter. Congratulations, baby girl. I'm glad that you're in kindergarten and enjoying it.
Congratulations. Cheers to that.
Yes, sir. That's what's up.
My hot shot of the week goes to, and you guys BP might be a little upset, but College Football Nation, man. We got college football kicking off on Saturday. We got a little bit of, we got the Nebraska Northwestern game kicking off in Dublin, Ireland. All right, we got a little BP. We got a little Idaho State at UNLV. All right, we got Wyoming and Illinois. And then the nightcapper, man, we got Vanderbilt at Hawaii. All right, a little 10:30 action. So get those parlays ready. All right, football season's back. This ain't
college game days back.
This ain't no preseason exhibition. We're in the regular season. So hot shot of the week goes to college football and the college football kingdom.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. What you got, Slick?
We talked about it earlier. My hot shot goes out to Turbin, the Turbin kid, the rookie for the Cowboys.
That's a great one.
Just with the fact of, like I said, he was USFL MVP, and the fact that he got the opportunity to get out of the developmental league in NFL, had a kickoff return and a punt return, just making the most out of his opportunities. And he's an undersized guy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then they think they think he solidified a roster spot with just his return ability. So, for sure.
Hey, special teams, right? Special
Yep.
teams makes a difference, especially when it
Special
comes
teams is
down
big.
to you return a kickoff. Like, that's a huge momentum because the other team just scored and you put it right back in their face. That's absolutely huge. Well, I love it, boys. What a great show we had today. Like,
Great
we had the
episode,
Profit
man.
on. It was a great episode. We
Great episode.
broke down the NFC East. Who are we breaking down next week, boys?
Let's go. We got to double up one of these weeks, so let's go north and south.
North and South, NFC
Yeah,
North,
we'll
NFC South.
do two.
Okay.
It'll be condensed. We'll do quick. We'll go NFC North and South next week,
I love it.
and then we'll finish it off the week after with the NFC West.
That's right. All right, guys. Well, we're out of here. Make sure that you catch us. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Can't wait to see you guys out there. Thank you for the love and support. Last week was amazing. Let's keep it going.
Yes, sir. Good job. Talk to you guys next week.
Right.